Hi, I'm Nate Wakeford, your masculinity and mindset coach. Today I'm going to be talking about leadership. In the same way that men are made, leaders are made. A man, in his pursuit of becoming extraordinary, will go through a series of trials and tribulations. When he develops wisdom, he's able to then share that wisdom. And when he begins to share that wisdom, he begins to lead another to help make the decisions, informed decisions that he learned through his own mistakes, adversities, and challenges that he overcame. So part of becoming a leader is about sharing the wisdom that you've attained, sharing the clarity that you've obtained, and sharing the skill sets that will help others to achieve outcomes that they're also committed to, that you've already attained yourself. And this covers relationships, it covers physical health, it really covers all areas of life. The foundations of an effective leader comes down to a man's identity. If that man is unwilling to make mistakes, he's not likely to be a good leader. If he is unwilling to accept the consequences of his decisions, including the mistakes that he's made, he's unlikely to be a good leader. If he's unwilling to face rejection or criticism, he's unlikely to be a good leader. But that doesn't mean that he needs to tolerate continued scorn, emotional violence, criticism when he makes a mistake. He needs to make good on any mistakes that he's made and remedy them as soon as possible and acknowledge any harm done. But every man is going to make mistakes in building himself into the man that he is not yet, because he's leaning into the unknown. He's learning things about himself and where his competencies end, where he needs to grow to meet the challenge that's presented towards him, where he is trying to do things himself, but he really needs support of others, where he lacks confidence in an area because he may have failed before, where he has traumas that prevent him from making the best decisions or have him have emotional outbursts that he later regrets. These are all signs of a man that just simply needs to grow. And part of becoming an effective leader is a lifelong commitment to growing and evolving through each obstruction and limitation that you meet along the path to becoming the person that you've committed yourself to becoming, and along the path of fulfilling the legacy, the life purpose that you are here to fulfill. I just reflect on my own life journey, and I would say I've still got a very long way to go to become a really effective leader. But I can also say I naturally find myself in leadership positions and I'm often respected as a leader. And I'm far from a perfect human. I make mistakes. I'm willing to take full responsibility for the mistakes I make. And I will also seek to remedy those mistakes. And I will also seek to give myself the best probabilities of success by allowing the reflections and support of people around me that are committed to a similar vision or outcome or a unified vision that we agree to. It really helps to observe great leaders if you're a man. It helps to emulate and take the examples of a man who leads with authenticity, vulnerability, courage, and is able to transcend his own fears, to lean into the unknown, to discover what he's capable of, and to invite the support of others. When you see a man who lives that example, it gives you a reference point. It enables you to see what is possible. And I remember when I started my own healing journey, I was initiated and I looked to some of the elders. I was initiated into a rite of passage. And when I looked at the elders, I was just in awe of the power of these men. And I know that they wouldn't have been perfect humans or perfect men, that they would have all of their life circumstances resolved. It wasn't that. It was that they had this strength. They had this courage. They had this willingness and desire to support men and love them in their pain, but also to hold them to accountability, to have strong integrity and strong boundaries, calling a man forward for where he didn't keep his agreements. This strong masculine love. And that's where I got my first example of strong leadership, and the first example of strong masculine love, where we have a true conviction to the higher well-being of the people that we're in service to. And we demonstrate our commitment within ourselves, to our best version of ourselves, and we invite those people around us towards that same highest expression. That is what leadership is. It's demonstrating that you are committed to this highest expression through your words, your actions, as well as recognizing that you're not there yet. You have a humility, as well as inviting others by sharing the wisdom that you have achieved to join you in that growth. That for me is beautiful leadership. And when it comes to the family, a lot of this applies, whether you're leading a business, whether you're leading a family, a community. There's a series of awarenesses you'll need to develop about how to maintain yourself in integrity, in honor and respect, how to deal with conflict, how to deal with the projections of others' criticisms and scorn and pain and suffering that they might throw at you, and to hold that with compassion and empathy, to invite them to a higher expression. See, often when a person's in pain, they want to externalize it. And there is an idea that people in authority need to be perfect, that somehow they are perfect and that's why they've been given this authority. Whilst people of authority typically are held to a higher standard because they're leading others, and rightly so, very rarely will a leader ever be perfect. They'll make mistakes. And so they have to be willing to be called out, but also to address any projections on them that they need to somehow be perfect, because that's not the case. They just need to be effective in their role as best they can be, and have a consistent approach to growth and improvement where they make mistakes, and to also take full responsibility for the impact of any mistakes they make. It's part of the journey to become a leader. And as I said, one of the best ways you can develop your path of leadership is to actively seek the support of a mentor, someone who can coach you on where you are making mistakes and how to handle situations which are foreign or new to you, and situations where you make mistakes and trip up, and how to restore harmony and well-being. Often when you're really involved in situations and circumstances that are challenging you, it's difficult for you to see the resolution or see beyond them, because often it requires you to see the world in a very different way that isn't based on your perception and identity that you have right now. And so having someone who's already gone through that stage of evolution, when they give the insights, when they give the reflections, they can see a little further, and they can likely see beyond the obstruction that you are currently facing, what is not yet resolved within you. Because every crisis, every opportunity presents a learning lesson that when you grow beyond, it gives you the ability to lead others beyond that obstruction or challenge. And that's part of what builds you into a valuable man, is the pain and suffering that you can diminish through your awareness, through your wisdom, through your actions, in raising the well-being of the people around you. That's the true reason that I believe a man becomes a leader, is he creates a greater well-being for the people around him. And that typically happens because he's traversed a long way in overcoming trials, tribulations, adversities himself, and so becomes a valuable person based on the resolutions that he can bring, the decisions that he makes that are informed by the experiences of his past, such that he creates a better outcome, a considered outcome for all. And this doesn't mean that he's going to please everyone, that he's going to make everyone happy, but he will make the best decisions he has with the information he has available. And sometimes those decisions aren't they can be damaging to some people, in fact. But his intention, his actions has to be motivated for the highest good. And I believe that when he cultivates a higher sense of well-being within himself, a higher respect within himself, that margin where people's well-being is somehow negatively affected will greatly diminish. I believe that the outer world reflections are all fractals of him, such that when he becomes a really healthy, radiant example of a man that is fulfilling his life purpose and mission, when he becomes integrous, aligned, he helps to be the expression that brings others into that same alignment. To the extent to which he has not yet achieved that is the extent to which he inadvertently might bring some harm to the people around him. In the areas that he hasn't healed within himself, he might get the learning encounters from the people that he inadvertently harms. That's what I'm pointing to. And I don't believe these things are ever done with intention, or at least not a man who is integrous and on the right path. Just there are learning gaps. Sometimes he doesn't know what he doesn't know, and people maybe get affected by that. As long as he does his very best to remedy that within himself and to remedy the relationships and any, inadvertent harm that he might cause another, then I believe that man is a good leader. Every person going through life is on a journey of self-realization to become the best person they can be, whether it's conscious or not. And I believe leadership is an accelerated path, and those who become leaders are given that responsibility because they've earned it. It's very rare that you'll have people follow a person that in some way hasn't earned that leadership. And wherever that's the case, typically that leadership doesn't last. It's somehow overthrown. So the path of becoming a leader is an honorable one, but it's a challenging one, and one that I think every man should in some way seek to become, whether it's a leader of his own life, a leader of his sporting team, his community, his family, and that he should not only commit to becoming a leader, but in a very effective and good one, a wise one. And he should do so with the support of wise men around him that can coach and elevate him in this path. I hope this video has been useful, and if it has, please like, comment, share this video with people that might benefit from it. If you would like support in becoming a better leader, I encourage you to reach out to me via the details in the captions below. Thanks so much for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.